Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today's video is going to be my wrap-up video for 2023. So stay tuned. I know I'm kind of a little late in filming this video, but I figured I would still do it anyways, just because I want to. Next year when I sort of learn the different videos, I may make like a year-long reference chart and do a little bit of pre-filming, because that's what I really want to do. So that is sort of the reason why we're filming this video, and it's March. But let's get into it nonetheless. So in 2023, I read 137 books, which is really cool. My goal for 2023 was to read 86 books, as in the year previous, in 2022, I read 85. So I bumped it up one more, and I ended up shooting that goal out of the park. Reason why I read that many books is, number one, in 2023 in February, my grandfather passed away, so I kind of, in the month of February, did a lot more of escapism. I also participated in Realmathon in April, which was also spring equinox for William, and I read a whole lot more during that weekend. I got into reading a lot more manga and graphic novels in 2023 as opposed to other years, so that's the other reason for the big number. And the other is I sort of have a weird reading method. I may get into it in a different video, but it's weird. But it's one of the reasons why my reading goes so high. I am absolutely still able to remember all the books. I read a total of 51,286 pages, which is quite a lot. The first book that I read in the year was Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan, which I gave 4.5 stars. And the last book that I ended the year off with was Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which I gave 4 stars. Apparently, I embarked on exciting adventures, rode a roller coaster of emotions, and burst into fits of laughter. Most of the stories developed at a steady pace, which is true for how I read. I don't tend to read a whole lot of fast-paced books. Manga can be fast-paced, but I like stories where the plot develops steadily. Let's see. My worst reading month out of the year, and this is going to seem really interesting. My worst month of the reading year was March with 8 books. And my best month was June with 14. Which I find really funny because it's March when I'm filming this video, and I've already read 9 books for this month. This year it's going to be a little bit different than my reading for this year, but honestly, like, June was my best month, and I don't really know why. Even still, for, like, I think I just read a whole lot in June. We didn't really have a lot going on in June, and I also think that helped. We did, like, basically nothing. And then, let's see, I was talking, so Realmathon was in April. I read 13. That's not bad. It was, at the time, that was my highest. And that was also Aurelium, so 13 books for Aurelium. I think my goal for Aurelium is 6 books in April or spring equinox, and 8 in the autumnal one, and roughly I read anywhere apparently from 8 books to 14, 15 books, so Aurelium's no trouble for me. Top genre. My all-time top genre, and I don't think this is ever going to change, is fantasy. In 2023, I read a total of 86 fantasy books or books with the tagline of fantasy. My next highest was romance with 42, and then my second highest was contemporary with 28, which is normally what I read. I read a lot of fantasy, I read a lot of romance, I read a lot of contemporary, and contemporary can sort of kind of mean anything, or like read contemporary romance. I also read in 2023 a lot of Alice Oseman's backlist, and a lot of those. My longest book of the year was, I did start Stormlight Archives in 2023 and read The Way of Kings, which is just over 1,000 pages, and I ended up giving that book 4.5 stars. And then my shortest book was The Legend of the Golden Raven by Kay Ancrum. This is a sort of continuation to Raven King. This is 32 pages. I don't think I actually read and gave that book, or I don't think I gave that book a rank because it's so short. Let's see, the average length of the books that I read was 371 pages. So far in 2024, that is about translated to, I tend to pick up books that are in the 300 to 400 page length. I will read the bigger books, but I tend to stick to the 300 to 400 page mark. That's a good solid book. And it took around 13 days to finish each book. The book that I finished in shorter length of time was Lore Olympus, Volume 3 by Rachel Smythe. It took a day. Not surprising, it's a graphic novel. The most time spent in a book was Jade City with a total of 542 days. This seems like a lot. No, I started Jade City for the first time in 2022. Put it down. Almost immediately after I started it. And then I finally picked, because I wanted to physically read it. I was reading it on my Kindle, and then I wanted to physically read it, and it took me a while to get the physical copy. And then in August, I read it for Aurelium. My top 3 authors for 2023. No surprise, my top author of 2023 is TJ Klune. I read a total of 16 of TJ Klune's books. Most of those were rereads, and most of these for 2024 of his books are going to be rereads as well. That's no surprising. He is my all-time favorite author. I've given everything he's written that I've read 5 stars. Top 10 favorite. And then Alice Oseman, I read 6 books. I read more of Alice Oseman's backlist this year. Like, I reread Solitaire, I reread Radio Silence, I read I Was Born for This, Loveless for the first time. I also read Nick and Charlie and This Winter. Oh, that explains all 6 books. So I read her backlist, not related to Heartstopper, but set in Heartstopper. Those were the books that I read from Alice Oseman this year, which is not surprising. And then the other author is Brandon Sanderson. So Way of Kings, Well of Ascension, Tress, and Frugal Wizard. My average rating for 2023 was a 4.2 star. So I gave a lot of books 4 stars. And like a lot of booktubers, I tend to stick with the books that I know that I'm really going to like. If I'm finding that I'm not liking a book, I will DNF, and I tend to stick within my comfort zone. My 5-star reads of 2023. Some of these are rereads, you will notice, but this should be all of them. So we have Lore Olympus Volume 3, Our Dark Web by V.E. Schwab, Scattered Showers by Rainbow Rowell, which is a short story collection she wrote, Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman, The Consumption of Magic by T.J. Klune, Day of Hollow Night by Samantha Shannon, The House in a Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman, Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune, Bear Otter and the Kid by T.J. Klune, In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. Alice Oseman did a Heartstopper yearbook for Heartstopper. The Love Hypothesis by Ally Hazelwood, Radio Science by Alice Oseman, Lore Olympus Volume 4. I reread Lore Olympus Volume 1, Wolf Song by T.J. Klune, Who We Are by T.J. Klune, A Wish Upon the Stars by T.J. Klune, John and Jackie by T.J. Klune, Raven Song by T.J. Klune, Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is a reread. Case McQuiston, The Damning Stone by T.J. Klune, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan, The Art of Reading by T.J. Klune, Lore Olympus Volume 5, Into the River I Drowned by T.J. Klune, Fairy Tales from Britannia by T.J. Klune, Love on the Brain by Ally Hazelwood, Long and Winding Road by T.J. Klune, Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and Murmuration by T.J. I gave 3 books 3 stars, 24 books 3.5 stars, 56 books 4 stars, 18 books 4.5 stars, and 32 5-star reads. Most of my books, my 137, ended up between 4 and 5 stars. And this year, 2024, is shaping up to be the exact same. Some months were better than others. January was my highest average rating month of 4.56. And June, while it was my highest month where I read the most, it wasn't my best month in terms of rating, which I read 3.86, which is interesting. I think I did a reading method in June where I would read the physical book and then I'd also have an audiobook going on, and some of those audiobooks I didn't really enjoy, and that's more of my 3.5 and 3-star books. So that also explains it. I haven't continued with that reading method since I read my audiobooks at work. So I don't read as many audiobooks. My most shelved book was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. 327,225 people shelved that book this year. My least shelved book was How I Stole the Princess's White Knight and Turned Him into Villainy by A.J. Sherwood, which 109 users shelved, and I gave 4 stars. I read a couple of other A.J. Sherwood books in the same series. One I gave 4.5, the other I gave 4. So we're checking out more of her book. My highest rated book that I read was Wish Upon Stars by T.J. Klune. No one's surprised. Average rating of 4.61. And I, of course, gave it 5 stars. It's T.J. Klune book. I explored the works of 68 new authors. For favorite authors, I'm trying to read their books, but I'm also trying to discover new authors. Include Francisca Zappia, which I read Eliza and Her Monsters. Really enjoyed that. Gave it 4 stars. The Sky Blues by Robbie Cooch, which I gave 4 stars. And N.K. Jemisin with 5th season, which I gave 4 stars. So that's really good. 102 of the books that I read were part of a series. That doesn't mean I started 102 series. That means that 102 of the books that I read were series books, or part of a series. I reread a total of 6 books this year. I reread Lore Olympus Volume 1. I revisited a total of 6 books this year. I decided to not finish 2 books that I picked up this year. The first one was The Talisman by Stephen King. I've read a couple of others of Stephen King's books, like Dr. Sleep, 11/22/63, and those books I liked, but this one I couldn't really get into it, and it was so long, and I decided I wasn't having a good time with it, and I wasn't feeling it, and I DNF'd it. The other book I DNF'd this year was Circe by Madeline Miller, which is a bit of shock to some of you, but while I liked Madeline Miller's The Song of Achilles, this book I really didn't, and I think it's just the main character in general, and I really just couldn't get into it, and I wasn't having a good time. So those were my stats for 2023. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comment down below your best book of 2023 if you still remember it, and what your best book right now is of 2024, as I would love to know if you've discovered any new favorites. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give this video a thumb up. Subscribe for more bookish content from me. Thank you guys so much for for watching. Remember, we are the one within the all. And I'll see you for whatever comes next.